Part 118. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1171. Chapter 1171 Mr. Tang's heroic rescue of the Beauty 3. Damn it, Tang Yuj shouted angrily, walked quickly to the front, and looked at the saber on Jian Yuman's neck with cold eyes. The sharp saber cut through Jian Yuman's neck, drawing a trace of blood, which made Tang Yuj even angrier. Let her go, Tang Yuj shouted loudly, which could reach the ears of the kidnappers from a distance. You can imagine how angry he was shouting these 3 words at this moment. Tang Yuj, do you think you can save your woman by bringing these people with you? Let me tell you, you'd better be sensible and spend $1 billion to redeem her, otherwise your woman will become a dead soul under our swords. The black brother, pointing at Jian Yuman, who was being held hostage, even though he was wearing a mask, one could guess that his expression was ferocious at the moment, and his threatening tone to Tang Yuj was without any trace of fear. Tang Yuj, what should we do? Manman is still in their hands. Su Warong's face was also ugly. He held a gun in his hand and looked at the enemy with cold eyes. If you just want money, then I'll give it to you. Tang Yuj didn't know what the purpose of these people was before, and he also guessed that it might be kidnapping. These kidnappers now wanted ransom, but he breathed a sigh of relief, and someone was there with a wave of his hand. Take out a large amount and appear in front now. Here is 1 billion yuan. As long as you let her go, this money will be yours. 1 billion is not a big amount for Tang Yuj. As long as Jian Yuman's safety can be ensured, even if all his assets are, I'm willing to give it to the kidnappers. It's just, do these kidnappers have this life flower? Go and get it. The black man waved his hand, and someone came forward to get it. Tang Yuj did not stop or resist, and watched these people take away 1 billion yuan without even raising an eyebrow. The black brother and others did not expect to ask for money so quickly, and so quickly, their eyes were straight. This is 1 billion. They have never seen much money in their lives. They still keep this money with them. How rich are they? Just when the gang of kidnappers were paying attention to the money, they put their hands behind their backs and made a gesture. Everyone moved. The first sound was the sound of gunshots. The sound of bullets hitting the flesh had just fallen. Jian Yuman's enemies were all hit by bullets, and each of them was hit more than once. Immediately afterwards, more than 50 people rushed out like rockets. Half of the people rushed towards the kidnapper who was shot, and half of the people surrounded Jian Yuman. Between the lightning and flint, Jian Yuman, who was in the hands of the kidnapper a moment ago, fell into Tang Yuj's arms. Everything happened so fast that Jian Yuman didn't even have time to blink. She was back in Tang Yuj's arms, which made her feel very safe. Jian Yuman also had a confused look on her face. She raised her head and looked at Tang Yuj's evil face. When she came into his arms a moment ago, she saw that the expression on his face was bloodthirsty and cruel. The moment he lowered his head and saw Jian Yuman, his eyes changed and became as gentle as water, as if he were looking at something chasing a treasure in the world. Jian, are you okay? Tang Yuj's voice was gentler than ever before. It was completely different from the moment when he gave the order to attack. He looked at Jian Yuman with eyes that were both worried, scared, and satisfied. Worried and frightened by the scene when he was in the hands of the gangsters just now, he was satisfied that she was back in his arms and he could hold her warm body again, which gave him an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1172. Chapter 1172 Mr. Tang's hero saves the Beauty 4. Worried and frightened by the scene when he was in the hands of the gangsters just now, he was satisfied that she was back in his arms and he could hold her warm body again, which gave him an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. I'm fine, Jian Yuman said in a hoarse voice. Tang Yuj frowned displeased when he heard her hoarse voice, and stretched out his hand to touch her neck. What's going on? Why is your voice mute? Tanyuj was really worried that the knife just now was too sharp and hurt her neck. He thought that the injury caused Jian Yuman's voice to become hoarse when she spoke. Doctor, hurry, hurry, Tanyuj shouted to the doctor behind him in a panic. The accompanying doctor, who had been waiting for a long time, rushed up with a medical kit and quickly bandaged Jian Yuman's neck. In fact, the wound is not deep. It will scab over in 2 or 3 days, and it will return to its original appearance in less than half a month, without even leaving a scar. Looking at Tanyuj's nervous look, Jian Yuman burst into laughter and stretched out her hand to hold his trembling hand. This man is really scared, afraid that he is in danger, and afraid that he will lose his life in the hands of these gangsters. She had never seen him so scared before, although she was only frightened before and after, not actually hurt. As for the problem with her throat, she was really embarrassed to say that it was caused by waking up. Are you okay? Are there any other injuries? These gangsters didn't do anything to you, right? Tanyuj asked anxiously. Jian Yuman looked at Tanyuj, and then at the gangsters who had been killed and taken away regardless of life or death. Mr. Tang, you must not let these gangsters go. They just... Jian Yuman looked at the man who was waiting intently for his answer. What happened to them? Tell me quickly and I will avenge you. Mr. Tang, this group of people are not after money at all. Jian Yuman immediately said that the plan B mentioned by this group of gangsters must be to pretend to ask for money, and finally kill her and destroy the evidence. She did not forget that in the car before, they said that their boss wanted to teach her a lesson, and finally they took the initiative and said that they wanted to insult her. It's not for money. It's for what? Tanyuj was not surprised. It was just for money. He should have contacted them immediately after the kidnapping, but after 20 minutes, they took the initiative to find him. Someone wants to teach me a lesson, and it's out of revenge for you to teach me a lesson. Mr. Tang, have you offended someone recently? Teaching you a lesson, did they hit you or hurt you? Tanyuj heard not Jian Yuman's question, but Jian Yuman's key words of teaching her a lesson. At this point, Jian Yuman pouted in a grieved tone. I was almost taught a lesson. If it weren't for my cleverness, I would have been raped by these gangsters. She couldn't help but tremble at the thought of being frightened. What? Tanyuj was furious when he heard this, and Su Warong's face beside them was also gloomy. Su Warong immediately turned around and walked to the man who was thrown into the car casually, and gave orders to his subordinates. Rescue these gangsters no matter what, and let them experience the long-lost 10 tortures of the Qing dynasty. Su Warong's voice made his subordinates who had been following them for a while tremble when they heard it. They looked at the gangster who was shot to death with some sympathy. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1173. Chapter 1173. Mr. Tang's heroic rescue of the Beauty 5. Su Warong's voice made his subordinates who had been following them for a while tremble when they heard it. They looked at the gangster who was shot to death with some sympathy. Tanyuj heard Su Warong's order with sharp ears, and secretly gritted his teeth because he had beaten him to it. This should be what he said. Then I looked at my woman to make sure she didn't hear her, and then I felt better. Jian Yuman slowly talked about what she had just encountered, and she wittily resolved the experience of being almost insulted. Fortunately, everything had passed, and now she was lying innocently in Tanyuj's arms, breathing fresh air. The air, feeling his strong heartbeat. Jian'er, don't worry. I will definitely find out the real culprits behind the scenes and let them regret it. Slowly Tanyuj gently stroked her hair to comfort her. Yeah. Jian Yuman had a faint smile on her face and hugged Tanyuj forcefully. It's not that I was smart today and wasn't scared by these people. I might really. Okay, okay. Everything is over, don't think about it anymore. Tanyuj gently touched Jian Yuman's head, picked up the princess, and walked to his exclusive car. This time Tanyuj found Jian Yuman, which caused a sensation in the entire imperial capital. Everyone only knew that the wife of a big shot had been kidnapped, but no one knew the specific details. Who kidnapped him? Why it caused such a big stir is incomprehensible. When Jian Yuman saw the people and horses outside, she was also frightened and stunned, because she had never seen such a large battle. Even this time, it was the first time she was kidnapped. She had never encountered such a thrilling thing before. Thinking about it made her back feel cold. Fortunately, she was fine now and everything was over. Mr. Tang, my throat is hoarse, you must not laugh at me, Jian Yuman said with a slight smile. Will not. That's good. I was scared to death this time. Fortunately, you are here. Jian Yuman smiled contentedly and fell into Tanyuj's arms. It feels really good to have a man you can rely on. Listening to Tanyuj's heartbeat, Jian Yuman fell asleep directly in his arms. Jian Yuman was also very tired after this exciting incident. Jian Yuman didn't need to worry about other things, which didn't mean Tanyuj didn't care. He looked ahead with cold eyes and said to Secretary Zhang, who was driving, "This gangster must save at least one person. These people are obviously premeditated. Investigate who is so bold and dares to touch my woman." Tanyuj's face was now restrained from violence because of Jian Yuman. The bloodthirsty expression appeared again. "Okay, Mr. Tang, I will definitely investigate who it is." Secretary Zhang also had the same angry look on his face. He was also nervous for half his life about Jian Yuman's danger today. Everyone still remembers the state of Mr. Tang when Jian Yuman faked his death. This time something happened to Jian Yuman, who was about to die. It was hard for him to believe what kind of expression Mr. Tang would have. Who is it? In recent times, they have not offended anyone on either side. In the past, Mr. Tang did provoke some people and provoked retaliation, but in the past year, this kind of thing has almost never happened. Moreover, this time the matter was aimed at Jian Yuman, which also made Secretary Zhang quickly eliminate possible people in his mind. This matter has become serious and must be dealt with seriously. Going to catch up on the drama. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1174. Chapter 1174, starting from being boyfriend and girlfriend 1. After this kidnapping incident, the entire imperial capital strengthened security management. Both Jian Yuman and Xiao Xiaofeng were surrounded by bodyguards to ensure their safety. The kidnappings happened 2 days in a row, each time it was extremely thrilling, and the place where it happened was the capital of the country. This kind of thing can happen here, and the higher UPS were alarmed. In the room, a handsome and demon-like man gently ran his fingers along the beautiful woman's hair, looking at her eyes so soft that he almost cried out. The bright woman's eyes were closed and she was sleeping soundly. Her furrowed brows suggested that she was not sleeping soundly in her dream. Tanyuj grabbed her soft little hand and held it in his big palm, looking at the bracelet on her wrist. Thanks to this bracelet, he was able to rescue her so quickly today. Without this bracelet, it was hard for him to imagine what kind of treatment Jian'er would have suffered. Although Kenny seemed annoying and appeared around Jian'er like a fly that couldn't be driven away, this incident was still a success. Tanyuj untied the necklace from Jian Yuman's wrist, glanced at it, and threw it away. The bracelet fell into the trash can with a parabola. He took out a box from his pocket and on the box was a necklace. This necklace has a 3-carat diamond in the middle, and is inlaid with the latest mini GPS tracker on the back, which has the same function as the bracelet on Jian Yuman's wrist. I am the one who wants to protect my woman. Kenny will get out of here, Tanyuj said sourly. He kissed Jian Yuman on the forehead and gently put on the necklace for Jian Yuman. Seeing her put on the necklace he gave her, the jealousy in her heart disappeared, and even a silly smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. At this time, Jian Yuman's eyelids moved, her long eyelashes trembled slightly, and the person on the bed showed signs of waking up. Jian Yuman opened her eyes and saw Tang Yu's silly smile, and started to complain mercilessly. "Mr. Tang, did you break your head? Why are you giggling? I am clearly the one in danger today." "You girl," Tang Yu burst out laughing and tapped her forehead with his index finger. "I'm happy to see you're okay." After resting, Jian Yuman sat up energetically, grabbed Tang Yu's hand, looked at the hand that clicked hers just now, and frowned. "What's wrong with your hand? Why is it wrapped in gauze?" "Knowing that you were kidnapped, I punched the glass in anger and was scratched," Tang Yu said calmly. "This small injury was nothing at all." Jian Yuman held his hand, feeling heartbroken. "Don't torture yourself next time." Jian'er is distressed. Tang Yu's eyes looked at her more and more tenderly. Seeing her distressing him, he felt as if he were alone in the clouds. "Of course it hurts," Jian Yuman replied naturally, but after she said it, she was embarrassed by her own words. "Jian'er, I love you." Suddenly, Tang Yu confessed affectionately, his gentle eyes almost watering, trying not to hide the deep love in his heart. Jian Yuman raised her eyes and looked into his eyes, her little heart throbbing. She once longed for this sentence, and now she can hear it once, twice, 3 times or even more times. "Do you know how worried I was about you when I heard that you had an accident today? I hate myself for not protecting you properly. Fortunately, you are okay. Just one update tonight. Your Majesty's eyes are sore and you're sleepy. My nose also feels uncomfortable, as if I have a cold. Updated tomorrow." End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1175. Chapter 1175. Starting from being boyfriend and girlfriend to. "Do you know how worried I was about you when I heard that something happened to you today? I hate myself for not protecting you properly. Fortunately, you are okay." Tang Yu held Jian Yuman's shoulders and expressed his most fearful thoughts. "Do you know how scared I was the moment I heard you were kidnapped? What do you want me to do if something happens to you? How do you want me to survive? Life without you is worse than death. I don't want to try again. Jian'er, promise not to leave me or put yourself in danger." Tang Yu begged with a bit of pleading. Jian Yuman pursed her lips in feeling, as if she was about to cry. He was moved by his words. "Can you really not live without me?" "Yes." Tang Yu nodded vigorously. "I don't want to try again without you." Unable to hold it back any longer, tears burst out of her eyes and kept falling from her eyes. Unexpectedly, she never expected that she was already so important in his heart. It's so important that he can't live without him. "Jian'er, come back to me. Starting from your girlfriend, this time I will let you experience what it's like to be a woman deeply loved by a man. We will start from falling in love, and when you feel that you can trust me for the rest of your life, I will take you into the palace of marriage and be my most beautiful bride." He still owes her a wedding. This time he will take his time, step by step until he grows old. Okay. Jian Yuman nodded her head and agreed to be his girlfriend and start a new life with him. With what happened today, their feelings for each other took a further step, and it also allowed her to see his heart clearly, and she was sure that she was so important in his heart, that it was already more important than his life. "Thank you." Tang Yu was very moved and hugged her very hard. He would never let her go in this hug. On this day, Jian Yuman and Tang Yu confessed their truest feelings and became a couple again, starting from falling in love. Although Jian Yuman got up early the next morning and cooked a rich meal for Tang Yu, and with the thrilling things that happened yesterday, they should have a good day's rest. But Jian Yuman, who has professional ethics, rejected Tang Yu's request. She had to go to work. She had already been absent from work yesterday and quit work the day before yesterday. If she didn't go today, her wages would be deducted. Although the salary is not much, it is still necessary. Even if Tanyuj moved him out to pay her some salary, Jian Yuman still refused. Tanyuj reluctantly saw Jian Yuman off. They hugged, kissed, and hugged her until 8:55, when they were about to start work in 5 minutes, before they separated. Jian Yuman was in a good mood, her steps became awkward, and she walked into the embassy while humming an off-key song. As soon as I entered the embassy, I saw a familiar silhouette, or two of them. One of the silhouettes looked familiar, but I was not sure if I had seen it before. Senior Jian Yuman greeted cheerfully and ran quickly to Su Warong. Jian Yuman was about to say thank you. Because of his help yesterday, Tanyuj's rescue was saved from a lot of trouble, especially the subsequent handling issues, which were all left to him. Just as Jian Yuman was about to say something, he saw a familiar figure from the corner of his eye. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1176. Chapter 1176 Kenny's Way of Love 1. Seeing the familiar back, the words got stuck in my throat. Isn't this Miss Infanur? Jian Yuman recognized the woman talking to Su Warong at a glance. This person is Su Warong's previous fiancée. She has a gentle and kind personality, and is a rare good wife and mother. During the 2 or 3 years that Jian Yuman was in Paris, the engagement between Su Warong and Infanur was also cancelled, and they are now just friends. He never expected to see this former fiancée at the door of the embassy. Miss Jian Infanur smiled and nodded to Jian Yuman, with calm eyes and dignified manner. Jian Yuman couldn't help complaining in her heart, why the senior couldn't think of breaking off the engagement with such a good fiancée, and it was a shame that he was willing to let her go. She has always wanted to be a woman like Infanur, who would be dignified, beautiful, gentle, and virtuous. I don't know how many men want such a wife. It's been a long time, I didn't expect you to be here too. Jian Yuman was not afraid of strangers and held Infanur's hand to come to the two sisters. Yes, we haven't seen each other for 3 years. Why are you with your senior? Jian Yuman's eyes wandered back and forth between the two of them ambiguously, as if they were saying there was adultery between them. I serve as the Deputy Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I made an appointment with Minister Jordan today, Infanur said with a smile. Jian Yuman was surprised when she heard this. She had never thought that Infanur actually worked for the country. Later, I thought that Su Warong's father was both Prime Minister Su. They were engaged in order to strengthen the relationship between the elders. Compared to Infanur, who is also a second-generation official, and whose father is also a senior national official, it is not surprising at all to work in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'm not disturbing you. Jian Yuman still looked back and forth between the two of them with ambiguous eyes. It seemed that they were a perfect match and they should be a couple. Jian Yuman's eyes made Su Warong frown in displeasure and speak coldly. Did not bother. Senior, by the way, I just came here to thank you for your help yesterday. Without you, I might have died yesterday, so thank you. Jian Yuman remembered the purpose of coming here and hurriedly said. Su Warong expressed his gratitude and sincerity, and all he had to do was offer a gift. It was difficult just to give a gift. Although her family and the conditions of her partner were good, she was very poor, and she was embarrassed to give a gift that was too cheap. It should be, Su Warong said coldly. Su Warong's words of yes made the atmosphere very awkward again, especially Infanur's eyes, which instantly dimmed, making Jian Yuman want to run away immediately in embarrassment. She could tell that Infanur still had feelings for Su Warong. Infanur had liked Su Warong 3 years ago. The two grew up together as childhood sweethearts and later got engaged. It's a pity that Su Warong still has feelings for Jian Yuman in his heart. This sentence of should seems to say that there is nothing wrong with protecting his woman. Jian Yuman didn't know how to answer the call, so after thinking about it, she might as well run away. I'm going to work, you guys can chat slowly. If Missin is free, you can come and play with me. I'll treat you to the Dihao Hotel and have a free meal, Jian Yuman said with a wicked smile, leaving only a hint of laughter at the corner of her mouth. Now that Jian Yuman and Tangyuj are back together, she can go to the Dihao Hotel for dinner without paying the bill. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1177. Chapter 1177 Kenny's Way of Love 2. Now that Jian Yuman and Tangyuj are back together, she can go to the Dihao Hotel for dinner without paying the bill. She hasn't eaten there for a long time, so she will go to Haihei for a meal in the evening. Alright, get on with your work. Jian Yuman and Enfaner left their contact information, and Jian Yuman ran away as if running for her life. The atmosphere is so awkward, so embarrassing. When Jian Yuman ran away, she kept mumbling these two words. Watching Jian Yuman running away as if for her life, Su Warong's eyes flashed with a hurt look. Enfaner next to him saw his expression, and his heart ached for a while, so he forced a smile and said, "You broke off the engagement with me to renew your relationship with her, but depending on the situation, she doesn't have a deep friendship with you, and she won't be jealous when she sees me with you." Su Warong remained silent, staring at Jian Yuman's disappearing back. "If you like her, try to pursue her, maybe she still has resentment in her heart for you leaving without saying goodbye." "No," Su Warong denied coldly. "It's too late." It was too late. She was no longer important in her heart, and the most important person in her heart had become Tangyuj. Their relationship, which ended without a problem, completely became a thing of the past the moment she met Tangyuj. He thought he still had a chance to meet her when she was still single this time, but later he realized it was too late. Especially the kidnapping that happened yesterday made him see it clearly. After Jian Yuman escaped from danger, Tangyuj was the one who kept paying attention, hugging and looking for a safe harbor. Looking at the way they looked at each other, he knew there was no place for him to get in. It will never be possible again in their lifetime. Just now he saw him and Enfaner together, and the woman even showed ridicule to the two of them in her eyes. How could he not see that she really wanted him to be with Enfaner? If she had any feelings for him, she wouldn't show such a look, and there really would be no chance between them. "In that case, you should marry me," Enfaner spoke, looking at Su Warong with eager eyes. "I will be your best wife, even if you don't have any love for me." She has no regrets. "I'm leaving." Su Warong simply dropped these four words and turned around to leave, without waiting for Enfaner to reply. The purpose of his coming today was to check on Jian Yuman and see her mood and emotions. Even just saying two simple sentences would make her happy all day long. Su Warong's departure made Enfaner show a painful expression, but it only lasted for a moment. He immediately changed back to a gentle and virtuous expression, putting away the most painful thing in his heart. He is still so heartless, always so cruel to women he doesn't love, without giving him a chance. When Jian Yuman got off work today, when she went out, the person she saw was not Tangyuj, but Kenny, who came all the way from Paris. He took the earliest plane overnight and rushed over to make sure that Jian Yuman was safe. The moment he saw Jian Yuman, his heart was relieved. "You're so funny." Kenny smiled and waved to Jian Yuman. When she saw Kenny, Jian Yuman's heart was instantly confused. She and Tangyuj had been living so happily these past few days, and she had almost forgotten about Kenny. "Kenny Appa. Why are you here?" Jian Yuman walked to Kenny with a smile. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1178. Chapter 1178 Kenny's Way of Love 3. I'm worried about your safety. Jian Yuman's passionate words instantly made the tired Kenny feel energetic. At this moment, he was at the door. 2 or 3 men in black suits suddenly ran over not far away and surrounded Kenny. One of them asked Jian Yuman respectfully. "Miss Jian, what's the trouble? Who is this?" Jian Yuman was stunned when he saw these people. "Who are you?" "We are the people sent by Mr. Tang to protect you." It turns out that this group of people was arranged by Tang Yuj to protect Jian Yuman. Before, we only arranged 3 or 4 people. This time, we arranged an exaggerated number of more than a dozen people, and their skills were all world championship level. After what happened yesterday, we have not yet found out who persecuted Jian Yuman. Naturally, we must protect her well and we must not let what happened yesterday happen. Ah, Jian Yuman looked at these people with disgust. She just said a word to Kenny and ran out to ask. "This is my friend. I know you are protecting me for my safety, but stay hidden and don't let me find you." Yes, Miss Jian. The bodyguards were also professional. Jian Yuman's instructions immediately followed them and tried their best to stay hidden. Jian Yuman looked back at Kenny helplessly. "It's so annoying." "This is also for your safety." Kenny was very considerate. Not to mention, Kenny's men were also protecting Jian Yuman secretly, but they just didn't come out. "Let's go. When you come to our country, I will treat you to delicious food. I heard that the roast duck in the imperial capital is particularly delicious, so I will take you to eat it." Jian Yuman enthusiastically took Kenny to eat delicious food. At the same time, she also had something to say to him. "Okay." Kenny nodded handsomely, and was pulled to the royal hotel by Jian Yuman. When Jian Yuman said she wanted to treat guests, she thought of coming to the Dehao Hotel. Treating guests here would be grand, but the important thing is that there is no need to pay. They were sitting by the window. They could look out. In front of them was the Forbidden City. They could also see the night view of the Second Ring Road. The scenery was pleasant and suitable for conversation. "Eat more." Kenny put all the food that Jian Yuman liked on the plate onto Jian Yuman's plate. "You eat too." Jian Yuman took a bite of the roast duck and some other things. She glanced at Kenny and was thinking about what to say so as not to hurt Kenny. "Appa." Jian Yuman didn't say anything, and Kenny didn't say anything either. Instead, he thoughtfully wrapped the roast duck for her and handed it to her mouth. "Open your mouth." Kenny looked at Jian Yuman with gentle eyes and handed the wrapped roast duck to her mouth. Jian Yuman glanced at the roast duck, finally opened his mouth to eat it, and then chewed it quickly. "Kenny Oba, I have another bite." Jian Yuman was about to confess to Kenny about getting back together with Tang Yuj, when Kenny stuffed another mouthful of roast duck into her mouth. "Appa, I'll do it myself." "You'll eat it yourself too." "It's okay, I like to make roast duck for you." Kenny was handsome, and the roast duck kept lingering on her lips. Jian Yuman opened her mouth helplessly and ate again. Judging from Kenny Oba's attitude, she must have guessed something, so she was not allowed to speak, but she was bound to say it today. She shouldn't let him wait for her all the time. She can't rely on his feelings for her and enjoy his kindness to her. She still vividly remembers every bit of what he did to her in the past few years. If it weren't for him. Go to bed early tonight, there will be 8 updates tomorrow. Must. No. Want to update more. Concubines, I don't believe your majesty's words. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1179. Chapter 1179 Kenny's Way of Love 4. She still vividly remembers everything he did to her in the past few years. If it weren't for him, living with Wang Tianyu and in Paris would have been many times more difficult than before. It was only because of his care that she could. I have no worries and am admitted as a diplomat, and my life is on the right track. She was very grateful to Kenny for taking care of her during that time. Appa. Tanyuj and I are back together. This is the most correct thing for Jian Yuman to do, and she can't hide it from him. Kenny, who was wrapping the third portion of roast duck, paused in his movements. Sadness flashed quickly in his eyes, and the smile froze on his face. It was obvious that he couldn't smile anymore, but he was still trying to smile. Congratulations, Kenny congratulated generously. Jian Yuman was also surprised that he accepted it so calmly. Kenny Oba, you. I'm fine. Kenny smiled slightly and handed the roast duck wrapped in his hand to Jian Yuman's mouth. Jian Yuman looked at the roast duck, turned his head away, and apologized guiltily. Sorry. Kenny is still smiling, and his eyes cover up the sadness very well. However, Jian Yuman, who has known him for nearly 3 years, how could she not see that his smile is so stiff, and the smile does not reach the depth of his eyes? Kenny looked at Jian Yuman, who looked at him with a guilty look on his face, and a deeper pain flashed in his eyes. What he wants is not the word sorry. There is nothing to be sorry for. This is your emotional choice and I respect you. The calmer Kenny became, the more panicked Jian Yuman became, and she explained anxiously. You also know that I have never let go of him, and since he is Mickey's father, I have no power to resist him. The love affair more than 3 years ago made me timid. But he is different now, so I want to try again and give each other a chance. I understand. Kenny nodded, smiled bitterly, and stuffed the roast duck that Jian Yuman didn't want to eat into his mouth. The roast duck that I thought was so delicious just now is like chewing wax in my mouth now. He is not in any mood to eat right now, but apart from eating to distract his attention, he doesn't know what to do. Don't wait for me anymore. The ring is not with me now. I will return it to you when I return to Paris. Looking at Kenny's expression, she was very hesitant in her heart, and finally decided to make a heartless gesture. Woman. She doesn't want Kenny Oba to focus all his energy on her anymore. A man as good as him is suitable for a better woman. The words Jian Yuman said were like knives cutting into Kenny's heart one after another. Kenny spread out his hand and grabbed Jian Yuman's hand, looking at her affectionately with his eyes, a faint smile on his lips, and answered in a serious tone. I said that I am your guardian knight, which naturally also includes protecting your love, even if the person who becomes your other half is not me. Why bother? I don't deserve it. You're worth it? I'm not worthy. I'm really not worthy at all. I'm very selfish. Apart from having a pretty face, there are so many women who are better than me. I'm so good now that I'm happy. You should also find yours. Happiness. Jian Yuman frowned and expressed her thoughts sincerely. This has nothing to do with appearance conditions. When you fall in love, you fall in love. You choose love, and I choose to protect you and your love. Kenny Appa. 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 You are mine, don't worry, I will be here soon, don't run away. I will love you well. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1180. Chapter 1180 Kenny's Way of Love 5. This has nothing to do with appearance conditions. When you fall in love, you fall in love. You have your choice of love, and I have the way I choose to protect you and your love. Even if you remarry Tanyuj in the future and have Sister Mickey again, I will still be your guardian knight and protect your love. I have not expected your love to be given to me, I just want to protect you. For me, seeing you happy is my greatest joy. Please don't deprive me of my only happiness. Okay. Kenny's electric eyes looked at Jian Yuman with affectionate and pleading eyes. Every word was like 1,000 pieces of gold and stone hitting her heart, giving her the greatest shock. It turns out that she still underestimated Kenny's love for her. The guardian knight, he said, was not just a rhetorical word. He really wanted to protect himself all the time. Even if he married Tanyuj in the end, he would still love and protect him unchangingly. Qian Yuman's eyes turned red because of his words. Tears quickly slipped from her eyes and dripped on the purple dining table. After a while, there were obviously darker tear stains on the dining table. Qian Yuman couldn't control her emotions at all, and big tears quickly fell from her eyes. She was touched, once again, by the way Kenny loved. Kenny Oba, why do you have to? The feelings in this world are like this, but I choose one way. Love, what I give is my love, even if there is no return. At this moment, Kenny has already seen clearly what he wants. Perhaps he still had the idea of possessing her and getting her. With the appearance of Tanyuj, he became more and more aware that he was not a good match for her at all. She was happiest only when she was with Tanyuj. It's not that he can't get it. He chose this way of silent love long ago when he realized that Tanyuj was her perfect match. See clearly step by step. During this period, he rarely appeared in front of her. He just spent some time thinking about many things. If he selfishly chooses to keep her by his side, he has countless ways and means. What Wang Tianyu would do back then, he could even do better. He would be by her side every day, leaving her no time to spend time with Tanyuj. But he didn't. He only made the final choice after seeing the essence clearly. Be her eternal guardian knight. Qian Yuman cried very sadly, which made Kenny feel sad and distressed. Walking to him, squatting on her right side, taking out a handkerchief, gently wiped the tears on her face. Stop crying, did you forget you were wearing makeup today? Kenny teased with a smile, trying to restore the atmosphere. The topic changed and other things were mentioned. Makeup? Qian Yuman was stunned, glanced at the handkerchief in Kenny Oba's hand, and saw a black stain on his dark green handkerchief. That seems to be the eyeliner on her eye makeup, no way. Qian Yuman shouted that something was wrong and immediately took out the makeup mirror in her bag. She saw that her eye makeup was completely blurred. The black eyeliner was blurred and was applied randomly in many places. The original delicate makeup became very ugly. It's so scary, why didn't you remind me earlier? Qian Yuman glared at Kenny complainingly, and immediately grabbed the handkerchief to wipe the spent eye makeup on her face. It's so embarrassing that she could cry so ugly in such a high-end restaurant. She should cry gracefully. End of this chapter.